Hi, good morning, sunflower, or good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're watching this. As you can see, I brought home the geometric solids from our classroom. And I did that because I thought it might be fun to look around the house and see if I could find things in the real world that were these shapes to kind of compare with the solids that we're already used to. And honestly, seeing them here in my house is really cool because it reminds me of our classroom, which I miss very much right now. And so I find it very comforting to see these set up on the table. But so when I go through mine, I've already looked and found all of my shapes. It's some were much harder than others to find. One I actually could not find, and I searched everywhere. So I made my own, but we'll get to that in a minute. But I challenge you, if you would like, maybe you could search around your house or your yard and see if you could find things that are also these shapes. And some are going to be tougher than others, but I think a few of them might be pretty easy to find. You could probably think of a sphere that might be in your home right now. So we can start with the sphere. Let me find the card. I brought the cards home too. And we know it's a sphere because it's completely perfectly round, right? There's no sides. So it goes round all the way around. And the sphere that I brought for an example was a really big one, bigger than my head, as you can see. And that's my globe. See, my globe is perfectly round, just like our globes at school. This one looks a little bit different because it has all the names, but it's perfectly round. There's no edges, there's no sides. Okay, so there's our sphere. Then next I have a cube. There's our cube, and we know it's a cube because it has all perfectly square sides, right? And my cube was a really easy one to find because cube is in the name. It's our Rubik's Cube. Have you ever seen one of these? They're very tricky. You turn them and try to match up all the colors on each side. There's my Rubik's Cube, so there's my cube. Look, they're almost exactly the same size too. Okay, next I found a cylinder, right? We know it's a cylinder because it has a round base on each side, no sides. So it's perfectly round from start to finish there. My cylinder is this. It's a kind of it's a Bluetooth speaker to listen to music on. So it's a perfectly round with no side speaker. That's my cylinder. But I'm sure that was one of the ones that I could find several examples of if I were to look hard enough. All right, let's see. How about an ellipsoid, right? We see our ellipsoid. We know it's an ellipsoid because the bottom and top are rounded, but they're completely equal, right? And we remember the difference between the ovoid is that it's got a bigger bottom than it does a top, or vice versa. But this top and the bottom are not equal. Our ellipsoid, which I had a little bit of a hard time finding one in my house, but I finally came onto this, which is the shape of an ellipsoid. It's the ellipse. It's not the ellipsoid, right? But it is an ellipse, and that is a cookie cutter. I had a really hard time finding another one. I suppose if I let the air out of some ball and squeezed it, I could probably make an ellipse, but instead of doing that, I'm just showing you the shape of an ellipse. All right, I've got our square-based prism, right? We know it's a square-based prism because it goes evenly up, and the top and the bottom are a square, and that makes all of our sides rectangles. Okay, there's our square-based prism. That was an easy one because I have blocks at my house. So the bottom and the top are both squares, making these, mine's a little bit longer and thinner, but those are still rectangles. So there's my square-based prism. Let's see. Oh, an ovoid that was an easier one to find because, and as we said, they're rounded, there are no sides, but the top and the bottom are uneven. I bet most of you have one of those in your house. An egg. The bottom's a little bit fatter than the top. Onto my ovoid. Okay. Now my cone, you guys remember a cone? Here we are. Has a round bottom. It has a round base. And it comes up to a point, so there are no sides. There's our cone. Now, I had a hard time finding a cone at first, and then I remembered that I had some food coloring, and the lid is a teensy tiny little cone. It's even the same color as our cone. Then I remembered also we have a snow cone machine at my house, and we use a cone to drink out of. So there's another cone. Okay, my triangular based prism was another one that it was kind of tricky for me. But I went through all the blocks to try to find one. And this one is a very small triangular based prism, but as you can see, the bottom and the top are both triangles, so that means it has 3 flat sides. All right, so there's my triangular based prism. Here's our example. There are 3 even sides. I'll put that there. And now I have a square based pyramid. And remember what makes it a pyramid. It comes up to a point. Okay, but it has a square base. That means there's going to be 4 sides, 4 flat sides that come up to a point. This one was a little bit tricky to find too. Luckily, I remembered that my daughter Nolly has an Egyptian playset, and ancient Egyptians built the Great Pyramids. So this one has 3 little pyramids all in a row. As you can see, the bottoms are each squares. They're connected, but they're each squares, and they come up to a point. So there's our pyramid. Now my last one, which is a triangular based pyramid, that means the base is a triangle and it comes up to a point because it's a pyramid. I couldn't find one. I looked and looked and looked and looked. I couldn't find one anywhere. So I grabbed some Play-Doh and I made one. It's not the most even, but it does have a triangular base and 3 sides that come up to a point. So if you don't find the shape, you can always find a way to make one. So that's all of our geometric solids, and that was kind of fun. So I hope that you guys enjoy searching the house and seeing what you can find too. Okay, we'll keep making these videos. I miss you guys, and I will see you soon.